There's a very specific moment that every gig worker knows. You have been doing this for a while now. You remember when it felt like a good deal, when the math worked, when you could look at a week's work and feel okay about it. That moment is getting harder to find in 2026. Harder to find and harder to justify. A lot of drivers are noticing. This is the Wealth Records. And today we talk about something the gig economy does not want you to calculate. Not the gross number, not the hourly rate the app shows before you subtract the actual cost of doing the job. The real number. Not the number they advertised, the number you actually live on. The one at the bottom of the math after gas, after maintenance, after the tax nobody warned you about. That number, in 2026, for a growing number of gig workers in America, is significantly smaller than it used to be. If you are new, hit subscribe, because today we run the math that the apps have been hoping you never run. Drop below. Are you doing any gig work? What platform? Are you making what you thought you would? Be honest, especially if the answer is no. Drop it below. We want the real number, not the advertised one. Let's start with the headline, because it is the part nobody in gig economy marketing will say out loud. The gig economy has not collapsed in the sense that the platforms are shutting down. Uber is not shutting down. DoorDash is not going anywhere. Instacart is not closing. The platforms are doing phenomenally well, actually. Phenomenally well. Record profits, record revenues, record valuations. Uber posted a net income of $9.8 billion in 2024. $9.8 billion profit, not revenue. Net income, $9.8 billion in profit. DoorDash posted revenues of $10.72 billion in 2024. Revenue growth of 24%. Record year for DoorDash, for the company, not for the drivers. The platforms are printing money. Record profits, record revenues, record market valuations. The platforms are thriving, and the people who work for those platforms are making less per hour than they were making 3 years ago. Less per hour than they were making 3 years ago. The workers are making less. That is the collapse this video is about, not the platforms collapsing. The deal for the workers collapsing. The deal was be your own boss. Set your own hours. Make good money on your own schedule. That was the pitch, and it was real for a while. For a specific early window, it was real. The pitch was real for a while. Early gig workers, the ones who joined Uber and DoorDash early, actually did well out of it. The early window was genuinely good for drivers. The surge pricing was generous. The sign-on bonuses were real. The platforms needed drivers more than drivers needed platforms. That balance of power shifted, and it shifted quietly, gradually, through a series of very small decisions, small enough that none of them alone would make you quit. None of these changes individually would make you quit. That is exactly why they were done this way. You adjust, you add another platform, you work longer hours, you squeeze the margin back up through volume, not rate. You make more by doing more, not by being paid more per unit. And then you get to 2026, and you run the actual math. And the actual math in 2026 says something you probably do not want to see. In 2024, Uber Eats drivers saw hourly wages drop by 5% to $14.96. DoorDash drivers saw a 3% decrease to $12.23 per hour. Before expenses, before a single expense has been deducted. That is the number before reality, $12.23 per hour. Before gas, before maintenance, before the part nobody mentions, before the self-employment tax, which is 15.3% of net income. Gig workers pay both the employer portion and the employee portion of Social Security and Medicare, both halves. Because there is no employer, you are the employer. You pay your own employer's share. And when you are a W-2 employee, your employer pays half of that tax on your behalf. You pay the other half, split evenly, 50-50, between employer and employee, not in gig work. When you are a gig worker, you are your own employer. You pay the whole thing, both halves, 15.3. Nobody puts that in the app. Nobody mentions it in the onboarding video. It just appears at tax time. And a lot of gig workers encounter this for the first time at tax time in a specific and unpleasant way. Specific and unpleasant. Tax time as an unpleasant surprise is a gig worker tradition. Now let's do the actual math, because this is the Wealth Records, and the math is always the whole point. Always. The math is the whole reason this channel exists. DoorDash driver. Average market. $12.23 per hour gross. Before expenses. Before a single expense has been deducted. That is the number before reality. Gas costs approximately 15 cents per mile. Average delivery driver puts in 20 to 30 miles per hour. That is $3 to $4.50 in gas costs per hour before we have touched maintenance or anything else. Just gas alone. Vehicle maintenance for full-time gig work runs approximately 8 cents per additional mile on the car. Insurance. Your personal car insurance almost certainly does not cover you for commercial driving. Gig work is commercial driving. Your personal policy does not cover commercial driving. A rideshare or delivery insurance rider adds $60 to $150 per month to your premium. A monthly cost that your W-2 counterpart does not pay at all. Monthly, add it all up, gas, maintenance, insurance prorated per hour, and the after expense number drops significantly from $12.23 gross per hour to something closer to $8 or $9 net. After expenses, every expense that a traditional employer would have absorbed. After the 15.3% self-employment tax on net income, you are close to minimum wage. In some markets, below minimum wage. In some weeks, below minimum wage after a slow shift and a tank of gas. Below minimum wage. After expenses and self-employment tax. Below. And minimum wage workers get benefits. Unemployment insurance if they lose the job. Workers' comp if they get hurt. Social Security contributions matched by their employer. Gig workers get none of these things. None. The Economic Policy Institute calculated this directly. A truck driving job worth $60,000. As a W-2 employee becomes $38,965 as an independent contractor receiving the same gross wage. Same hours, same work, same gross pay, $21,000 less per year because the contractor pays the costs the employer would have paid, $21,000 for the same job, same hours, same work, same gross, completely different net. That is the invisible pay cut embedded in the independent contractor classification, not in the hourly rate. It shows up in the tax filing, in the insurance bill, in the maintenance schedule. Now, let's talk about something that should, by the logic of basic capitalism, not be possible. Something unusual is happening, and it deserves a close look. The platforms are getting richer while the workers are getting poorer, simultaneously. In the same economy, at the exact same time. Simultaneously in the same company in the same economy. Uber's net income in 2024 was $9.8 billion. That is the profit after everything. Uber described its fourth quarter of 2024 as its strongest quarter ever. Record highs across every financial metric that Wall Street tracks. Record highs. DoorDash revenue, $10.72 billion in 2024. 24% revenue growth, year over year. The platforms are succeeding. By every financial metric that matters to investors, the platforms are succeeding enormously. The mechanism that allows this is actually not complicated. It is very simple once you see it. Almost embarrassingly simple once you see it. The platforms set the price the customer pays. The platforms set the commission they take. The platforms set the driver's cut. The driver has no say in any of these three numbers. Zero. The algorithm decides. You are not in that conversation. You never were. And here is the part that the Human Rights Watch documented in a full report released in 2025. Documented in full in a 155-page report with receipts. Documented. 6 of the 7 major gig platforms studied, Amazon Flex, DoorDash, Favor, Instacart, Lyft, Shipt, and Uber. 6 of the 7 use opaque algorithms to determine pay. Workers do not know how much they will earn until after the job. You accept the job, you complete the job, and then you find out what you made. After the job is done, not before. That is not how any other labor market works. In any other job, you negotiate the wage before you take the job. That is how jobs work. Not here. Here, the platform sets the wage in real time, algorithmically, based on conditions you cannot see and cannot challenge. You can decline. Declining affects your acceptance rate. Your acceptance rate affects which jobs the algorithm sends. You can quit. You can drive for someone else. But all the platforms are running roughly the same model. All of them. You're not negotiating with one employer. You are in a market where every employer uses the same playbook. Now let's talk about something genuinely funny about the gig economy pitch in 2026. Dark, funny. The kind of funny that makes you laugh and then stop and think. So the pitch was, be your own boss, make your own schedule, work when you want, stop when you want, answer to nobody. That was the promise. Set your own hours and answer to nobody. The reality in 2026 is that you are managed in granular real-time detail by an algorithm you cannot see, negotiate with, challenge, or appeal to. You cannot call the algorithm. The algorithm does not have a manager you can escalate to. Your schedule is technically yours, but the algorithm controls which hours are busy, what surge pricing you see, how many jobs you are offered, what those jobs pay, and whether your account performs well enough for good jobs. You are not your own boss. Your boss is a piece of software, very good at its job, better at any human manager you have ever had. And here is the part that really lands when you think about it. Your boss also represents the company paying you. In a normal employment arrangement, your boss represents the company, but HR and labor laws sit between you. In gig work, the algorithm is the company. The algorithm has no HR department. No labor law fully applies. You are classified as an independent contractor. Independent contractors have no right to minimum wage under federal law, no right to overtime, no right to organize or collectively bargain. They are legally independent businesses, and the algorithm treats them exactly like a business partner would, except you're not a business partner. You are a worker. You happen to be classified in a way that strips out most of the protections that worker classification normally comes with. That classification is the whole ballgame. Now let's talk about what has changed specifically in 2026, because 2026 is a specific and newly difficult environment. The gig economy squeeze has been building for years, but 2026 has added a specific new pressure on top of everything else. Fuel prices in 2026, affected by rising global oil costs and supply disruptions, have climbed significantly. Not a small change, a meaningful hit to the math per shift. When you are a gig driver and fuel costs climb, that cost does not come from the platform, all of it. Every dollar of increased fuel cost lands on the driver, not the platform. The platform's commission does not adjust because gas got more expensive. The base pay per delivery does not adjust. The cost of operating your vehicle, which is the thing you're providing to the platform, that cost goes up. The driver absorbs it every time. That is what the classification means practically. In some markets, drivers are reporting that after recent fuel price increases, certain deliveries are barely worth taking. Not barely profitable, barely worth the wear on the car. The math on low tip, low base, high mileage deliveries in 2026 is literally negative for many drivers. You lose money on those deliveries. That is the design. And yet the algorithm offers them. And if your acceptance rate drops, the algorithm punishes you. This is the trap. This is the specific trap that the Human Rights Watch named in their 2025 report. The gig trap. That is the actual name Human Rights Watch gave their 2025 report. You can decline the unprofitable delivery. Declining makes your metrics worse. Worse metrics mean worse assignments. Better future assignments go to the drivers with better metrics. Better metrics require accepting more assignments, all of them. That is the trap. The cost of getting the best assignments is accepting some assignments where you lose money in the short run. This is the design, not an accident, an intentional feature of how algorithmic labor markets are structured. Now let's step back from the delivery driver and talk about the wider gig economy picture. More nuanced than one story. 70 million Americans are participating in some form of gig work in 2026. 70 million, 36% of the workforce. That number includes people who are thriving, many of them. The gig economy is not a monolith. The outcomes vary enormously. A software developer freelancing in 2026 might genuinely make more than they would as a full-time employee. A consultant billing at $300 an hour is not experiencing the gig economy squeeze. They are winning. The flexibility premium they receive is real and substantial. The gig economy is not one thing. It is a very wide spectrum. And where you land on that spectrum depends on one factor. The whole determination of whether gig work works for you comes down to that one factor. The factor is skill scarcity. How many people can do what you do? When you are doing work that millions of other people can also do, a delivery, a ride, a basic task, the platform knows that. The algorithm was built with that knowledge in mind. When you are doing work that very few people can do, sophisticated software engineering, specialized consulting, the platform needs you more than you need the platform. The dynamic flips. The pay reflects that flip completely. The gig economy in 2026 is simultaneously the best labor market for rare skills and a trap for common ones. Those two things coexist. Both are real. Both are described in the same statistics. The average obscures the gap. The 70 million doing gig work include the six-figure consultant and the driver losing money. Averaging them together produces a number that describes neither person's actual reality. The average misleads. Averages always obscure the most important parts of the distribution. Now let's talk about what 80% is, because 80% is a number that stops people cold. 80% of full-time gig workers whose primary income comes from gig work would have difficulty paying an unexpected $1,000 emergency expense. 80%. 80%. Not 30%. Not 50%. 80% of full-time gig workers. People for whom gig work is the whole income, not a side hustle on top of a salary, but all of it. 80% of them cannot cover a $1,000 surprise without difficulty. That is the financial floor of full-time gig work in 2026. 80%, $1,000. Not a major medical bill, not a down payment, not a car repair. 1,000, 80%. The freedom of the gig economy for a very large number of workers is the freedom to be financially precarious in a flexible, app-based, algorithmically managed way, but precarious, with nicer branding than the precarity used to have, but still precarious. Now let's close with something practical, because this channel always closes with something you can use. If you are doing gig work right now and the math is not adding up the way you thought it would, you are not wrong. The math actually does not add up for a growing number of people. Run the actual math on your actual numbers, not the gross. The net after gas, maintenance, insurance, and the 15.3% self-employment tax. run that number, the real per hour number. If that number is significantly below what you could make as a W-2 employee with equivalent hours, consider it seriously before making a permanent decision based on the gross number. W-2 employees get unemployment insurance if they lose the job through no fault of their own. They get workers' compensation if they get hurt on the job. They get healthcare access through employer plans, overtime protection, minimum wage protection, a floor below which their employer cannot legally pay them. The flexibility of gig work is real. The question is whether that flexibility is worth what it actually costs. For some people, at some points in life, it absolutely is worth it. Flexibility has genuine value that money does not capture. For other people, the full comparison reveals that the flexibility premium is paid entirely by the worker. You are paying for your own flexibility. The platform is not. With the 15.3% tax, the insurance, the maintenance, and the lack of any employer-side contributions, you are funding your own independence. If you are doing gig work as a side income on top of a primary job, many of these concerns are significantly reduced. The self-employment tax still applies, but the income instability is buffered by the primary job. Completely different math. The trap is gig work as primary income. That is where the math turns against you most consistently in 2026. And if you are considering gig work as primary income, run the real numbers before you leave a W-2 position. The app will show you the gross. The gross is the number designed to get you to sign up, not the real number. The number you will actually live on is smaller, sometimes significantly smaller. It is the only number that actually matters to your rent and your grocery bill. It's not magic, it's just math nobody walked you through. The math of why the gig economy promised one thing and is delivering another in 2026, and what to do about it. Hit subscribe. The Wealth Records. The pattern is always there if you know where to look. I do.